Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Angels of Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I love working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Patrice Spitz. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to both of us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I'm a spiritual guide and healer who is passionate about helping you reconnect with your divine presence and step into your purpose. Now, through angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, guided meditation, exploring past and future lives, I support you in healing your past and creating a soul-aligned future. Now, my journey has taught me that with the right tools and guidance, we can all connect with our higher selves, embrace transformation, and live a life full of abundance and fulfillment. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Patrice Spitz, about the power of ancestral healing and how working with inherited patterns can lead to greater peace, joy, and personal freedom. Now, Patrice is a personal development facilitator, spiritual counsellor, ThetaHealing practitioner, and intuitive coach who has helped people shift lifelong patterns and step into a more empowered and fulfilling life. With over 30 years of experience, her unique integral healing approach brings together deep inner work, intuitive practices, and soulful guidance. Now, with testimonials such as, I love working with Patrice. She is intuitive and wise beyond words and has helped me see some of my limiting and negative patterns that hold me back. Working through art and meditation, as well as the guiding words, has deepened my understanding of myself and what I want and need in my life. The work is keeping me focused on my path toward a more balanced life, deepening my relationships, my self-esteem, and finding joy. I hope to take this joy and spread it to my family and community. And I'm very grateful to have met Patrice. It's always a pleasure to work with her. Her connection to God is very deep, and she has the ability to guide you into that connection as well. The sessions I had with her went really deep and still felt light because her guidance, her calm and caring nature. I'm always amazed by the insights and perspectives she has to offer. I recommend working with her 100%. So without further delay, hello Patrice, and a warm welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Excellent. So before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Patrice and I want to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy. So Patrice, why don't you tell us more about your journey and how ancestral healing can bring us peace and empowerment?
Okay. So my journey, like you said, started about 30 years ago. And I started out doing energy work and breath work and spiritual counseling and hypnotherapy. Um, I did hypnotherapy with pregnant couples, which was really fun. And so all of that was very fulfilling. And I also felt called after some time to become a clergy person. So I did that. And then as part of that path, I became a chaplain. And as a chaplain, I was working with a lot of older people. I was working in retirement communities and I was working in hospice. So I worked with a lot of older people and people who were dying. And what really struck me was that a lot of the people were um, at the end of their life, even dying, and had not done their inner work. So what I was noticing was that they were stuck in emotional patterns. They were in worry, anxiety, sadness, depression, all sorts of things. A lot of them had anger. And so I saw this, and yet they were not able to change at that point. They didn't have the energy, the time, the ability, the desire, whatever it may be. So that really spurred me to get back to working with people one-on-one and in small groups, because I wanted to work with people who were really ready to change and wanted to change and wanted to commit to their healing path. So working with these people brings me a lot of satisfaction, because I can see that now we can get to the end of our life and look back without regrets. And that's really what motivates me a lot, to help people to get to that point where they're living the life that they want. They have come to their place of inner peace and their place of finding their purpose and finding their joy, so that hopefully we all can get to that point of being able to look back and say, I've come to resolution. With whatever I need to come to resolution with, I've come to peace, and I'm in joy. So that's my work journey, I would say. And in terms of ancestral healing, I find that when I work with people, a lot of the issues and challenges that we have is from our ancestral inheritance. So obviously some of our ancestral inheritance is very good and very positive. We all have resilience because our ancestors were resilient, or else they wouldn't have survived. So we've all, inherited some great things and great qualities. But the challenges come from the inheritances that are limiting us, such as the limiting beliefs, the incorrect perceptions about how life is or how life should be. And I'm really wanting to help people get into their empowerment. So that's why I put peace and empowerment in the title, because I find that those are super important goals, and ancestral healing can help so much with that. Because if we're not doing our ancestral healing work, then we are being run by those old programs. We kind of can't help it. So it is so beneficial to do that, and then we can be living our life according to what we want and not according to these unconscious programs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And people, that I work with, the clients I work with, there is a lot of past stuff that needs to be worked on and healed from. And when we say ancestors, are we kind of like, talking about ancestors as in, parents or grandparents or great grandparents or great great grandparents, or you know family from 500-600 years ago or something?
That's a good question. It could be all of it. We're usually working on the last 7 or 8 generations or so, often parents, grandparents, great great grandparents, but it could be farther past that, behind that. Yeah.
Yeah. So why normally 7 generations back?
Um, that's a really good question. That just seems to be the number that is affecting us the most directly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose if you look at our numbers anyway, 7 is quite an important number.
Yeah.
Um, and they normally say, like with witches, the seventh generation of the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter
That's
of.
right. That's right. I think there's no accident that it's usually about 7. That is the most uh, affects us the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can it be both our parents' ancestral lines, or just one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes with clients we'll work on one line for a while, and then, something else will, they'll bring something else to the table, and that will be related to the other line. So yeah, we can definitely work with both lines. And sometimes the ancestors, I mean, we're usually talking about genetic ancestors, but once in a while we can communicate with ancestors who are not officially, related to us, but still had they were still part of the family and are still having a big effect on us. And those people can be part of I'm sure, no surprise, those people can be part of our spiritual team. Sometimes it's our genetic ancestors, and sometimes it's an uncle who wasn't really related. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really interesting, especially in today's society where, your uncle probably isn't your uncle, and you have family members who aren't genetically your family, but their energy still comes
Yes,
in that way. So that's really fascinating, when you actually start looking at ancestral stuff, that it's not just blood relations, but it's people that had a strong spiritual connection to you.
that's right. That's right. So,
So fascinating. And if you're watching this and you've got any questions you want to ask about ancestral patterns and DNA, etc., then please do get in touch. So, how do you normally work with people? Because it sounds really great. Yeah, right. Let's go and sort my ancestral line now, so it's not affecting me now. Oh, wait. How do I do that?
yeah, exactly. So there are a few different things that we do. So I work in private sessions where we can go really deep and address people's specific issues. I also do group, like online group events. But for the private sections, we talk about, well, first of all, whatever they want to bring to the table, and we'll dive into it, and we'll just get into going deeper and deeper into what is underneath that issue or that challenge. And it's a really fun and fascinating ride, actually, because often it's not what we expected. So we'll just be going like, I think it's really because my father is that way. And then we'll just go further and further and find out it's either a further ancestor or it could be something else completely, but it's always interesting and elucidating. And then we know we're getting to something real anyway, because then when it's something that's like, whoa, I didn't expect that, and that's why this work can be so effective, because we're not just, we're going so deep that we're really getting to the bottom. So, so what we do is we'll do some of that conversation, which comes from, coaching, spiritual counseling type of thing, and we'll get really deep. And then eventually, and we'll see we'll often look at what is a limiting belief. That's what we'll often find, that there's a very strong belief that is underneath. And then what I do is I use this method where I connect to the divine and I go really deep and I ask the divine to change the belief. Now, of course, everything is done with permission. So this is all like in conversation. And sometimes before we change the belief, we'll have to have some conversation and exploration to help the client get ready to change the belief, because there are beliefs that we're holding and we're getting something out of it. So we talk about that sometimes, like, okay, if you're not ready to change it, why? What are you getting out of it? Is there some kind of positive thing, or something that you think is positive? For example, if we change this belief, will you be afraid that you will disconnect from your family? That could be a common one. So we talk about all these sorts of things and we get ready so that the client is understanding that it will be for their benefit to change the belief. And once the client is ready to do that, and then we can move on with the energetic part. And then I ask the divine to change the belief and I watch it happening and watch it being done. And then we also, well, one thing is that we get very, very specific. So that's what also makes it very effective. It's not just a general, oh, they had this sort of issue, so here's the belief that's related to that. I don't do it that way. I get super, super specific. And so sometimes the belief that is related to their challenge is not what you would think it is at all. So that's always like very interesting. And so once we do that, I watch the belief being changed by the divine. And then I also ask the divine for what is the appropriate replacement belief. So we look at what is true for this person now, what is beneficial for them now, what can they take in, and that also is sometimes it's not always like the opposite of the negative belief. It's sometimes something kind of different and you wouldn't have expected it. So that can be pretty cool. So then they take it, I ask the divine to install the new positive belief, also to download into them any feelings that are associated with the new belief. So we let go of the old feelings that are associated with the old belief, and we bring in the new ones. So it's a cool system of like the belief and the associated feelings. Because if you just have the belief, but then you don't have the feeling, sometimes it doesn't stick that much. So we really need to do both. So we do that kind of thing. We can do in a session. We can also help the person to loosen up any enmeshment that they might have with someone else or with a whole family system. Another cool thing we can do is change the money template that they have. So that's always a great thing. You know, so many people have in their ancestral line have poverty. I mean, poverty is pretty common, right? So of course, in our ancestral line somewhere, it's not so unlikely that we might have that. So then, of course, many people have the beliefs associated with that, like there's never enough, or whatever it might be, and so yeah, so we can, in terms of the money template, in addition to just the beliefs, there's sometimes an energetic construct or template that we have that is all about how we attract money. Should we have money? Shouldn't we have money? And how much should we spend and stuff like that. And so we'll ask the divine to remove the old one and then to bring in an appropriate one that is beneficial for this person today, for their life. So
Wow.
that's really good.
Yeah. And do you find that, maybe you release one, like a money belief, that once that's gone, other things then start coming through?
You mean other positive things in their life start happening? Or do
No,
you mean,
other ancestral issues start coming through. They get rid of one, and then suddenly another one turns up.
yeah, that will happen. Definitely. It's not like, we have one session and then like boom, we're done, of course. So yes, we keep uncovering, and it's just kind of like like a graph where it's just getting better and better. So we'll make some changes, their lives will improve, their inner peace will improve, and then they come back and we'll make some other changes, and then that improves. So yeah, every time they come, it's like there's more to do, you know. And
Yeah, you kind of like think, God, why couldn't my ancestors just fed one problem? Why have I got to do all this stuff? And do you find that when they start releasing though that old ancestral patterning, that it has the knock-on effect that it doesn't affect their offspring, their future generations?
absolutely, it always does, because the DNA is like Wi-Fi. So it's like we're always connected in both directions. And I have seen that, and it's so wonderful to see. I had a client who was working with me on, and some of what she was working on was parenting, how she was parenting in a way that she wasn't so happy about. Like in the past, her daughter was in her 20s at the time we were doing this. And so she kept working on this and coming to peace more and more with what she did and why she did it, and having compassion on herself, and changing the beliefs and everything. And it was really wonderful for her to do. But then what she started noticing was that her daughter, without her telling her daughter anything about this, her daughter started opening up to her, and it was so beautiful. And her daughter, up until that point, had been very closed, and their relationship was really not so great, and her daughter was always angry with her. And once we started doing this healing, her daughter started texting her hearts, and she started texting her I love you, and she hadn't said that since she was a little girl. I know, it was so moving. So their relationship, without her doing anything directly with the daughter, was just starting to open up and bloom and transform.
Wow. And I'm guessing that when her daughter in the future, if she decides to have children, she'll be a better parent because she's not bringing through those issues that obviously affected the mother and maybe her mother before her.
Absolutely. I totally believe that. I totally believe that. It's like, there's a phrase that people use nowadays, which I totally am into, which is cycle breakers, you know, and that's what this work is. It's really breaking these cycles that have gone on for God knows how long. And sometimes we can ask how long and find out, and which is interesting. And it's just so satisfying and, it's for me, it's part of my purpose and my mission is to like help people break these cycles so we don't continue these negative patterns. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is so, so important, and it's something that I think now is really coming into the fore as the energy of the earth is changing, because I'm finding I'm dealing with a lot more clients with past life issues. They're coming to me for that, and it's like they need to start clearing and healing this for them to be able to move forward now. So it seems like it's a really big thing at the moment that we need to be doing this,
Yeah.
to help raise the vibration of the planet and for us to move forward.
Yeah, totally makes sense to me. Yeah. And in terms of sending, having the healing affect our descendants, it definitely does. Um, but we can also send healing to our ancestors if we want to. And in both directions, even if we do it consciously, like asking the divine to send the healing this way or that way or both, it's always free will. So whoever is directed towards can receive it or can say no, thank you. But we can definitely do that. We can definitely send healing to the ancestors. We can communicate with the ancestors, which is really, really cool, um, because we get really good information. Like for some people, communicating with the ancestors has cleared up questions. It helps us to learn their motivations. Why did they do this? What was driving them to be a certain way. And so there can be a lot of really, really great healing. It can help us to feel more compassion for the ancestors. It can help us to forgive them if that's what we want to do or need to do or whatever. Um, there's really a lot of, there's also what happens sometimes is we communicate with the ancestors and sometimes they're regretful or remorseful about what they've done. And I've seen this be super, super helpful for people because it's like if that person was unkind to you during their life and they never expressed regret about it, then you just think, well, that's just a hard feeling to carry, you know? And sometimes it doesn't always happen, but sometimes we communicate with them and they do express regret and remorse. And then it can be very, very soothing and like a balm to someone's heart to hear that. So I've seen that happen and that's been fantastic.
Oh wow, amazing how that happens. And I'm guessing as well that probably, it could be that maybe your ancestors had some kind of talent that you've been blocking, and by going back and communicating or clearing, that talent comes out in your current life, I'm guessing.
Yes, that can happen also, and that's something that we will be doing as part of my online workshop in August. One of the things we'll be doing is um, tuning in through the different things I do, the guided meditations, very deep guided meditations, where I bring people up to that divine level, which is where I work at, and to get information and to get downloads. And then we'll also be doing intuitive art exercises to get in touch with our own inner wisdom and our higher self and the divine. So through all those things will be one of the inquiries will be about asking about a dormant gift or talent and or receiving a blessing from an ancestor. So that will be fabulous too.
Cool. So art, where does the art come into this?
That's a great question. So the art, sometimes it's part of the private sessions. It's always part of the group session. It's optional in private sessions, but the art is a really cool thing because it's, first of all, it's for everyone. So it's not for artists. It's not for creative people, but we're all creative, really. It's really for anyone who can just pick up a pen and like make some marks. So it can be that simple. And it's basically a way to, like I was saying, to get in touch with our inner wisdom. We can have the intention to get in touch with our higher self or with the divine and have that come through. So I'll pose inquiries and then the person will make marks, and it's a very natural process where you just are drawn to whatever material. So let's say you have a few pens, markers, or even something more elaborate. You just notice, what are you drawn to? What do I feel like? Pink right now. Don't know why, just feel like pink. So you pick up the pink. What kind of marks? Don't know. I'm just going to do this. So whatever comes out is just a very natural process. And we'll do that for a while. And then we have a journaling process that goes along with it, where we communicate with the art and we just kind of ask, what does it have to tell us? And we get really amazing information that we wouldn't have gotten just by thinking about it or by just sitting there and I pose an inquiry and then we just think about, what's the answer? But through this process, it kind of takes you out of your logical mind and it allows something higher to come through. And it's also very relaxing and it's very fun and it's a way to express emotions. So there's a lot of benefits to doing the intuitive art, but in particular with ancestral healing, it's a way to get in touch with those things. So another thing I'll be doing during the workshop is using these processes to determine what's a limitation that we need to heal. And then we'll do the process again to determine what's our next step forward. So you can ask all kinds of questions with the intuitive art and you'll always get an answer. It's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, no, that's really good. And the fact that you don't actually have to be an artist to have these pictures, just some squiggles will actually give you an answer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I did a session, so I have a meetup group, and it's a meetup group for women, and we do intuitive art together. And I had a session where someone was coming up with it was about ancestral healing, that topic, but they were coming up with stuff which, according to their ethnicity, made sense. So what they were coming up, but they had no idea. They were like, "Whoa, this is coming out," and because my ancestors are from this country, so it makes sense. But I don't know, I can't believe this is coming out in my art, you know. So we have all sorts of great experiences.
Wow, it's amazing what you can learn from the ancestors. And I'm guessing as well that when you learn and heal from the ancestors, and this will go back to where you were working with older patients, is the fact that it does stop those regrets
Yeah.
about what they haven't done in their lives or the people they've not contacted. Because I can imagine, that if someone is, about to take their last breath and they've realised that they've not healed that relationship or whatever, it can be quite distressing, I would have thought.
Yeah, it can be distressing, and it's hard to watch someone at that stage and they're not, and you see there's something bothering them, and that can be very difficult. So yes, doing the work while we are still able to do it is so beneficial, because otherwise we are not able to live our best lives and we're not addressing the regrets. And I have found that the regrets that we have, when I work with them, with people or even with my own, it it they tend to be able to be dissolved, which is so amazing. I've had experiences with myself, with a regret I had. I remember I was working with someone who was helping me with this, and through our session, we realized, wait a minute, or I realized, wait, I don't need to have a regret about that. you know, I didn't actually do anything wrong. I was always for years blaming myself about this thing. And then the more we like talked about it and did this kind of work together, it just kind of dissolved. And I was able to see, wait, I didn't have to be holding that as a regret. That was not even valid. So it's so beneficial. I have found that so many times with people that these things that they're holding on to that are really bothering them, really, once we work through it, it's like, oh, that's okay, you know? And that's just so amazing. Yeah. And yeah, I was just going to say, we're with ancestral healing, we're really able to live our lives, not have the regrets, and go for our dreams because we're not living with the ancestral beliefs as like an overlayer. And a lot of that comes from wanting to be loyal to the family because that's right. That is such a major, major indoctrination that we go through on earth. It's like you have to be loyal to your family, right? And that is holding so many people back because sometimes it's not in our highest interest. And being loyal to the family means taking on beliefs that are not our beliefs. We don't even believe those things really. You know, you can get a clue sometimes with ancestral healing that, like, if you have a thought come up and you're like, huh, why am I even thinking that? And it seems like off, then sometimes it's just ancestral. It's like, wait, that's not your thought. That's why. It's not even your belief. And that's what I have found a lot. So that's a really cool thing to be aware of. And then it's much easier once we realize it's like, oh, then we can do the work to start to get to the place of reality. What is my belief around this? You know, how do I honor myself and my values? Yeah.
Wow, amazing. It's brilliant, you know, that the work you're doing and how you can get all this information and make the changes, you know, that we need to move our lives forward. It's absolutely brilliant. So, as you know, I do guided meditations and do angel oracle cards, and each week I like to ask my guests whether they would like me to do a mini guided meditation or pull an oracle card for themselves and everyone watching. So, Patrice, what would you like me to do?
I'd like an oracle card.
And as we so happen, I have them in my hand.
Amazing.
Amazing. So, as always, when I do the cards for what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. Because even though I work with the past, with past life regression, when we go back in time, it's to learn to heal from those past issues so they don't affect us in our present. And when I take people into the future, it's so they can see, understand, and know what their future is, what steps they can take, so they come back to the present and not worry about it, because we really do need to stay in the present all the time. So let's just see what. So what does Patrice? Oh, okay. I won't even go any further with that one because we've actually got two that jumped out
Nice.
today. So we've got discovering truth. You stand in the light of truth,
Nice.
and choosing your path. All is possible.
I love it.
How brilliant are you know, for these two cards to come out, and the fact they tie in with what you're talking about as well. You know, so it is you know, when you start making that choice to look back at your ancestral stuff. You know, you are standing in the light of truth because you get those answers, you get that understanding, to move forward. So everyone that's watching this, you know, you get to choose your path. And if that involves, means you have to seek the truth from your ancestors, then actually do that. So, you know, so you can move forward on the path that you're meant to live. And for you, Patrice, this is just so much confirmation about the work you're doing and that you're on the right path, with doing this. And you know, it's just to keep going and discovering that truth. And the more truth that you're finding from other people, with their ancestral lines, is helping other people who may not be doing that work as well, because it's like that ripple effect
Mm.
that goes on. So beautiful cards that came out as real confirmation for you. So that's absolutely brilliant for that. So, Patrice, do you have any insights or thoughts or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
I would say for people to realize that everybody has ancestral healing to do, that since everybody has ancestors and everyone's ancestors went through traumas, and then they all, because of those traumas, developed limiting beliefs and limiting patterns and coping mechanisms, and through the DNA we just have a lot of their stuff. So it's like you can't escape it, unfortunately. You can't just escape and say, nah, no, I don't need that. So it's really, really, I would just say it's super beneficial for everyone. This is just for all of humanity to be able to to give some focus to this and to acknowledge it and to do whatever it takes, do the work to start changing those beliefs, and then you will have a brighter future. And do the work to, speaking to that oracle card of truth, of of learning, of getting in touch with your own truth, because our own truth might be very different from what our ancestors believed. So we want to really honor ourselves and get in touch with our truth and live our life, make our path according to our own truths and values. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That
Thanks.
makes
Yeah.
so much sense, and I'm glad the cards help clarify that. So I hope that everyone, you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have. So if people want to connect with you, Patrice, how do they do that? And you mentioned about a workshop you're doing, and any free gifts or offers to share.
Okay, yes. So I have a website where a lot of this information is. So my website is just my name, patricespitz.com. And on that website, you'll find the Ancestral Healing Workshop that you can sign up for. That's coming up August 23rd. There's also the possibility of signing up for my email list. And if you do, you can choose to check the box that says receive a free video. And in that video, I lead you in an intuitive art process. So you get an idea what that's like. Another thing is that I have a meetup group, and you can sign up for those sessions through my website or join the meetup group. And I'm actually on it, so I can tell you what it's called. It's called Intuitive Art Events and Retreats for Women. So, anyway, so there's that meetup group that women can join. And I have the workshop you can sign up through there, or I have complimentary events also going on with intuitive art. Yeah, through that.
Wonderful. And are these in person, or can they be done online as well?
I basically work online. Yeah.
Beautiful. So anywhere in the country, you
Anywhere
can,
in the world. Yeah.
in the world. Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
what we like. I mean, I love in-person stuff, but the fact that we can do things in other countries, I
I
think,
know.
is just so amazing.
It's so amazing and fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Patrice, for sharing your wisdom. And of course, for everyone watching, I also have a free gift, which is a 5-day angel connection journey to open your channel to receive messages from your guides and angels. And also, I do have my Angel Wings membership, where you connect with me live in community for bespoke channeled guide meditations, group angelic Reiki, future life progression, past life regression, practice card readings, mini energetic masterclasses, Q&As, and so much information in the library. And of course, if you're ready to live your soul's purpose and you're feeling the nudge to heal, grow, and align with the life that you were born to live, then I'd love to support you one-to-one. And you can join my Soul Path Discovery program to clear old patterns, connect with your soul's gifts, and explore your highest potential and create a life of purpose and abundance using past life regression, future life progression, oracle and angel cards and angelic reiki. And the links to those will be in the comments, as well as all the links to connect with Patrice. So you don't have to go searching for her. You'll just need to click on them and you'll go there. And again, I want to thank everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost, want to get clear on their destiny, just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe. It is free. And hit that bell button to be notified when the show goes live, or I post new guided meditations. Come and view the stuff on my channels. Help me increase the view time. And of course, don't forget, every time you like, share, subscribe, watch any of my stuff, any of Patrice's stuff, any of my guest stuff, you're actually helping get our message out there, and you're part of that beautiful network of creating abundance, joy, insight that can help benefit all of us. So be part of that. And I look forward to you joining me same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Hi, thank you so much.